All right, here we are. It is lunch therapy time. I have some, hey, Jose. Meow, boy. So I'm starting the show with a little Alfred and Tass, just because it's very exciting. I love this so much. And I just wanted to get it moving today, because it is Tuesday, Alfred is doing the music here, and Tass does the visuals. Just love that. Can't get enough of it. All right, so let's move on a little bit. Now that I got the adrenaline moving, now we're gonna calm down a little bit. Today I got a great show for you. I have Loren Wesley Ackerman, who you've seen in the chat room. He's a comedian, lives out there in Illinois, and he has been gracious enough today to come on to tell us some crazy stories. Some of them might be scary. Some of them you might be like, I don't even believe it. I don't believe it. Get it. You go. Yeah. So, holy. Say holy. Say like, hey, meow. Furnace, we got a clown here. Yes. All right, we're going to send in the clowns, right? Hurry up and slow down. That's what I did. I got it like rolling. So I got Loren. He's in the green room hanging out with Boney, doing some bong hits. I don't know exactly what they do in there. I have no idea what they do in there. Holy folks, sorry I missed last night. The clocks went back in the UK, so I tuned in. Oh no, I missed the show. Mark, it's great to have you here all the way from jolly old England. We have a really interesting dance break at the end today. I think you're going to like it a lot, but I'll save that for later. Right now, let's get into the show, because we haven't even started breathing yet. I love this part. This is, if you don't know it yet, this is one of my favorite intros. Because it's like we're in space or something. I don't know. It's like we're in a Stanley Kubrick movie, taking a break from the crap. I usually don't show up in this sequence, but I thought it might be cool to be careening down a hallway. And now here he is, Loren Wesley Ackerman, all the way from Illinois. Holy.
Holy. Yep, Central Illinois. Glad to be here.
Illinois. So I was saying you're from Champaigne, but you're in an undisclosed location in Illinois, somewhere near Champaigne.
Central Illinois.
What's it called?
Yes. Central Illinois.
Central.
The Midwest.
All right. We're out in the water here. We're out in Puget Sound right now, taking a dip in the I don't know what this is, an inlet, a canal, I don't know, but that's where we are. This was sent in to us by Ganell, and I appreciate that. Now we're kind of floating up in the air. So last week, I said that we were going to bring on Loren, and we did. But yesterday, I didn't mean to say last week. I meant to say yesterday, we talked all about mooses. And one of the reasons that I wanted to talk about mooses yesterday was because of Moose the cat, which is our friend Ben Gurvich out there in Australia. He has this cat called Moose, and I never even mentioned Moose the entire show. And it turns out Moose was kind of upset. If a cat can be upset. So I want to make it up to Moose today, and I wanted to show him again, drinking a glass of water. There he is. I mean, he's a cute cat, let's face it. Definitely, right? And there's another picture of him drinking water. And I hope he can forgive us. There he is hiding under something. The other thing that I wanted to mention is we talk about Moose Lodge, Todd Lee's Moose Lodge. And that is actually named after a moose, not because there are moose nearby, because there are mainly, it seems to be elk, but because over the fireplace, he has this gigantic wicker moose. So there you go. You've heard of Wicker Man? Yeah, there's a wicker moose. Ganell says it's Eagle Harbor. That's the body of water that we're looking at. So thank you for clarifying that. All right, are you ready to breathe?
I'm ready to breathe.
All right, so in through the nose, out through the toes. Hold it and let it go. There's Ben McKnights, the owner of Moose the cat. It's good to see you. Hopefully Moose, I don't know, Moose, can you hear me? Moose? Sometimes you can hear me all the way in Australia. Wicker Bullwinkle. Jenny's here. Jenny's a comedian, as you know. I got a really good thing for you, Jenny, that's coming up. All right, so just for you. In through the nose, out through the toes. I got to tell you, I got a stuffy nose today. I got a little bit of a cold. So pardon me if I breathe elsewhere.
Going around.
All right, let it go. Yeah, the weather changed here from really hot to somewhat cool. And that's when suddenly I'll get a little sniffles. All right, in through the nose, out through the toes. Whoa, I'm floating. I got so much air in me, I'm floating. And let it go. We got some good hang drum going in the background. I'll crank it up a little bit because we got a mellow.
Got to take a break from the world.
Got to take a break from the world, yeah. So maybe you can explain the show to people out there that haven't seen the show before, Loren. Give us a little rundown.
Well, from what I've seen, you got a great host here, a fine actor and a funny comedian yourself. And I've seen everything from sex robots to animals eating pumpkins to just these breathing techniques to you never know what you're going to see. And like I said, like you say, get away from the crap. It's a good way to do it. Get away from the crap.
That's right.
And anybody who's watching, subscribe to it. I already have, so feel free to do the same.
All right. So I just want to get how can you hear Loren? Because he's going to be telling a crazy story later on in the show. Just want to get some feedback from the audience because I'm having a little trouble hearing you, but I want to make sure that we can hear everything. Right now, we're going to both move into the subscriber update, and here we go. You're going to be surprised. You're going to be surprised. Break from the crap. Yeah, so here's our crazy subscriber graphic here, and down below are all the new subscribers that are coming in. Says Loren could be higher in volume. I don't know whether you can up the volume on that end. Maybe the music.
I can speak a little louder. Does that help?
That's great.
Like this?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's perfect. I just want to make sure they can hear your crazy story because we're going to have some crazy stories. And wait for it. Here's the number of subscribers. You're not going to believe it. We're almost to 600. That's pretty good. We're getting there, right? Yeah. More subs.
Yeah, when I started watching, you were just under 500 before Boney was on.
Yeah. So we're moving along. We just want to, bring some more folks in when we want to get to 1,000, which is when we become a YouTube partner. So that's the whole thing. Todd Lee says they still use strings and cans in Illinois. You guys have strings and cans.
And then some, lots of corn.
All right, moving on. We're going to do a little watch party here. Here we go. All right, so here we go. This is fancy. This is the thing I was telling about that I want to show Jenny in particular, but it's it's for everybody. It's for everybody. It is a goose that has fallen or become friends with a mini horse. Yeah, I know. It's hard to believe, really.
They don't know that one.
This
of
is
many
the thing
horses
about
is
the
a goose.
show.
They have no idea. They're besties.
Is we get to
Waffles and
see
Hemingway were rescued from an outdoor paddock
how
in
animals are
unsanitary
kind of like people.
conditions, and at that point, we
Or
had
maybe
the
people are
property and
lucky
brought them
enough
back
to be
our
like
shelter.
animals, I think is probably
After
more
they
like
came
it.
to the SPCA, we
Okay.
immediately noticed that Hemingway became very protective.
This is
of
a
Waffles.
channel called The Dodo,
Anyway, the horse would go, the goose would be
and
right
please
next.
go there and subscribe.
Hemingway had a bit of an attitude.
So,
Excuse me.
The Dodo.
We gave him his baby.
I'm just
food.
showing a little bit of this
Went in and
because, you know, it's their thing.
Waffles, we
And you
found
should go to
be
their
a
site
bit
and look at
peppery.
it.
He was a typical mini horse stallion.
But
So it took
apparently
a little
mini
bit of time
horses
to
are a little
come
bit
around.
feisty
We were
from
looking
time
for
to
an
time.
adopter that would hopefully
And
keep them
this
together.
somehow, you know, I don't know. I think the goose is actually a little bit scary. Ginny maybe can attest to this, but I think geese are kind of violent sometimes. Is that true, Ginny? I don't know. Geese are smarter than ducks, apparently. Wow, that's kind of a high bar too. Let's see. Are we going to see another meditation of capybaras? There will be no capybaras today. Only a goose and a mini horse. I mean, what what more could you want, right? What's your favorite animal, Loren?
My favorite animal. Oh,
Yeah.
gosh. I love animals in a whole, but I'm a big fan of owls.
Owls?
I think owls are interesting. I grew up near a state park, and I actually had a chance to pet a wild owl.
Wow.
And the park ranger told me that I was lucky because it could have got me with its talons or its beak. But I was big into Steve Irwin, so, you know, I did what I did, and I've always loved owls growing up even.
Now, is Steve Irwin the guy that died when the fish stung him?
Yeah, it was a barb that had gotten him when he was doing some filming in the ocean.
Ugh, that's
I think it
terrible.
was a stingray.
Stingray, yeah, stung him. Wow. All right, we're
But
moving on from
when I was younger, I used to do.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. I want to hear.
I was gonna say when I was younger, I used to take a camera and go out in the wild and just see what I could do, and even chased a few tornadoes.
Tornado chasing? Oh my God, we gotta
Yeah,
talk
what
about
else are you
that.
gonna do in the Midwest?
You're kind of a thrill seeker, I think. All right, this is
I
another
was
thing.
before I got married.
Oh, and now that you have a child, you can't go around chasing things. Okay, this is the
Right.
horror portion of the show because it is Halloween week. Or this is maybe one horror part of the show. This is something called the Human Show. And I'm showing this because tomorrow we're going to have Seth Word back on the show. And Seth Word is somebody who's on America's Got Talent. And he plays a walrus sometimes a snake. In this, there's a lot of dead people. Because let's see what Ginny says about geese before we move on. Geese can be feisty. They can be mean. But if a goose loves you, they are very loyal and kind. So that's, I think, what we were looking at there. Owls can rip you apart. They can see mouse urine at night. It lights up in their vision. Wow. Okay, let's watch this because this is cool. This is called The Human Show as opposed to The Muppet Show. And it is by Seth Word, who's the guest tomorrow.
With our special guest topic, free will.
It's time to play the music. It's always time for lights. It's now time for the humans on the Human Show tonight.
It's time we had a shake-up. It's time to address our rights. It's time to raise the curtain on the Human Show tonight.
Why did it take so long? I guess we'll never know. It was literal torture to have to do the show. And now let's get things started.
Why don't you get things started?
It's time to get things started on the most maniacal,
Survivable, revolutionary, red
This is where it gets really gruesome.
is what we call the human
Whoops! Sorry about that, guys.
He sort of just slipped out. Yeah.
Oh. So there you go. That's the human. It's not the whole thing, but of course you should go to Seth Word's YouTube channel to see the rest. He's gonna be on tomorrow to explain himself. What do you think about that?
I loved it.
It's pretty good, isn't it?
I thought it was great.
I think he's one of the most creative short filmmakers out there, and also one of the most creative. I don't know what you would call him, like a costume character. He has all these different costumes that are. He has all these different characters that are animals, essentially. Let's see.
I'll check that out tomorrow.
Kamala says, "Wow, yeah." So go to Seth Word's YouTube channel and subscribe. All right, so just a couple more things here. Sure. This is a robot band. This is a band that plays heavy metal. Or robots that play heavy metal. Kamala's speechless from that Seth Word. All hail Seth Word. Well, we enjoy this robot band. Seth Word is astounding. He is. This kind of rocks, and they're not humans; they're just robots. So. DNT. I guess I can't sing. That is cool. All right, so I want to hear your thoughts on robots playing guitar. Do you play an instrument?
I do not. Well, I do, but nobody considers it one. A harmonica.
A harmonica.
I can hear things out.
Definitely an instrument. I love the drummer. That's it. Verna says she loves the drummer. Yeah, the drummer's rocking out in this thing.
I think it's great.
I think robots playing heavy metal music is cool because they are metal, by the way. I mean, they're already metal.
They could get a Stephen Hawking voice. They could use one of those computer voices and have them exact.
Yeah. I don't know if Stephen Hawking could hold much of a tune. Okay, I got to move on. Check that out. That is at, they're called Compressor Head. Compressor Head. It's at Sergei Kanatiev's channel. Just one more thing. Oh, it's another ghost story. This one is going to be, I'm not changing the titles up here. I got to be changing the titles. I got to be, sort of remiss. This is Joel Jeske. Joel Jeske we had on last week. He's a clown. This is another Halloween treat. Do we need humans anymore? This is called Ghost Package. I love Joel Jeske's sense of humor.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed the one the other day. Are they dead or are they sleeping? Dead or sleeping? That was really cool. Mark Strignell, who is a musician, also says harmonica is a very underrated instrument. Anyone who plays harmonica is a friend of mine. So there you go. There you go.
Well, thank you, Mark. I like to hear that. And a lot of people don't know that I believe it was made for classical music when they invented the harmonica.
Classical music?
It's been pretty universal. I'm pretty sure.
Wow.
I can actually do a couple tunes here and I'm out that way. But you said you were from Chicago for a minute. When I was a kid growing up, I used to go to a lot of blues festivals. And Charlie Musselwhite is one of my most favorite people. And I talked to him for like 2 hours and he showed me how to play a little bit. And I've been a big fan of that and blues my whole life.
Wow. We've had a request from the chat room. The chat room is asking that we play Dead or Sleeping again. And you know what?
Oh, that'd be fun.
I'm totally dead or napping. I'm totally up for that. Let's do it. It's one of my new favorite short films. Dead or Napping. Let's see if we can be quiet through the whole thing. I can't, obviously. There it is. Napping. So that first one was napping. Second one, did you see this on Friday?
Yes, I did.
You did. So you know whether it's dead or napping.
Yeah.
I'll ask Sethward tomorrow. Maybe we'll show it again. If you didn't see it. I think that Ganell might be correct on this one as well. Yes, napping. Just napping. It's a weird it's a weird place to nap. Joel Jutsky needs subscribers, or like we all do. So if you want to go to his YouTube channel, go in there, click the little subscribe thing. I wonder if his friends ever call him Joel Jutsky. Do you think? It's kind of a subtle, humorous thing.
I bet they do.
I think
I subscribed to him the other day. Everybody should subscribe to him. He's very talented.
Dead. That last guy was dead. I've got to close our thing here. We got to close out because we got to get to our...
Hello, children.
There he is again.
It's time for the Mr. Joel Show.
I can't show you the Mr. Joel Show. We're not doing Mr. Joel Show today. That's saved. Yeah, so Mark is correct. The last one was dead. Face planting, definitely face dancing. He wasn't napping. I think he's dead now. I love that video. It's so great. Ginny Sykes says it was in the news that someone in India was thought dead, placed in a coffin, ready to embalm, and then woke up.
Wow.
That sounds like a crazy story. That would be a crazy story. Maybe we can bring him on the show to tell a crazy story. All right, let's move on to our crazy story segment. Some kind of master clown, exactly. Get these master clowns out of here. No, we love having master clowns in here. All right, so crazy story intro. All right, Loren, here we are in the crazy story room, which is, it's one of my favorite places to be, in the crazy story room. Loren's going to tell a crazy story. I'm going to be as quiet as possible. The gas we pass.
Oh, no, I'm not going to read that either.
That's a crazy story. Is that your daughter's book?
Yeah, one of her early books, yeah.
All right. So, yeah, that was frightening. Oh, wait. Just want to see one more comment before we roll in. I thought cowboys invented the harmonica along with campfires and Franks and beans. That's what we thought. I thought that, too. Maybe. Nope.
Could be both.
Mozart, for sure. All right, so I'm going to try and be quiet and just react to the story. And I'm going to just let you take the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Loren Wesley Ackerman.
All right. How can I not start with this? It's our Canada trip. And when I was younger, many years ago, we were, my ex and I had enough with society, and we had put a 2 weeks notice in it where we told our apartment that we were leaving in a couple weeks, and we're putting everything into storage. And we wanted to go to Canada to visit my mom because we decided to actually go to South America and go work and wash babies in villages and stuff. And she lived in Canada, South America was down here. So that night we watched a movie. It was a Jimmy Stewart movie. And in this film, they were having a kid. And I gave my ex a kiss, and I kissed her belly and said goodnight. So we get on the trip, we get somewhere up in Minnesota to get something to eat. And I ordered dessert. And all of a sudden, in the middle of eating the pie, I started getting hair in my throat. You know, those little hairs. And I looked down, there's a bunch of curly hairs in my pie.
Oh.
And there's only,
No.
there's only certain kind of hairs that are curly, right?
Oh, no.
So, I complained a little, and I got our meals free from eating the hair pie. And we end up making our way to the border to go see my mom, of course.
Yeah.
And we were with family. And she kept telling me before we went that she had some funny business going on in her house, that her house was haunted. And, you know, if you don't see it, you can't believe it. And when we first got there, my niece, who was about 5 years old, was upstairs playing in a room. She was in a corner crying. And I said, Cassie, what's going on? She couldn't talk. And when I looked over, there was a closet, and I could hear a growl, almost like The Grudge. I'm not even kidding. And it was a black, grayish, string-haired old lady staring at me. So I grabbed her, went downstairs, and I said, Mom, there might be something going on with this. And when we were visiting, other things happened, like beds were shaking. But in between all that, my ex wasn't feeling very well. And about 3 days later, she went to the hospital. We thought she had food poisoning from that restaurant.
Yeah.
And when we got to the hospital, the Canadian doctor goes, congratulations, you're going to be parents. So we're looking at each other, and we go, what? 7 years of no protection. We didn't know. We planned on adopting one.
Yeah.
So after a few days later, she gets to come back home, and we're staying down in the basement. And all of a sudden, the blanket goes straight up, like just a sheet straight in the air. So this freaks me out a little bit.
The
So I
blanket
could
went
tell my
straight
mom,
up in the
"No."
air like a sheet, like a ghost?
Yes, just like in a movie. Just
like in the movie
And
we
then-
saw previously to this.
Yes. So I'm starting to see some things, and I said, we can't stay down here. So we moved back up into the upstairs, and in the middle of the night, we start hearing things. The bed starts shaking, and I even put my boots up against the door, and the door starts coming open, and it keeps coming open. So at this point, I'm really freaked out. And she's pregnant, and she was, severely dehydrated and not well. She and I was laying in the bed, and it came up to her face where she couldn't even scream out loud. It was so frightening. And pretty much the short of this thing, we had several things happen. Even my ex-stepfather ended up collapsing and had to go to the hospital. And then right before we left the trip, my niece, who was 5 years old, had this bear that would glow. I don't know if you remember those. You hit a button and they glow like rainbow colors.
What was it?
It kept coming on. Those teddy bears that used to glow.
Okay. Never
You
had
hit
one.
a button.
I would have one
Well,
now
anyways,
if I
this is
could
a long
find one.
time ago.
Yeah.
It kept coming on with the battery off, and she was shaking and crying, and the bed was just moving. And pretty much that very next morning, we left the place. I said, Mom, I believe you. You need to move out of this place. And I'm not selling it because I have never been comfortable telling the story, but seeing is believing. I always thought that if you didn't believe in it, you were strong, nothing can happen. But
Yeah.
objects were moving, things were happening. But that's not the scariest. We just found out we were having a kid, right? So we had to call everybody. We had to tell them all we're going to not quit our jobs, stay at the apartment, and we're going to raise our own baby now, our own village.
Yeah.
And I wanted to get some Cuban cigars
Uh-huh.
to take back to give at the hospital.
Yeah.
So I have a pocket of Cuban cigars, and they asked us at the border, they go, do you have any weapons? Do you have any food or any alcohol? Well, I didn't think about it. And when they got us, they took us out and they put it across from each other room. When this is after 9/11, and we're staring at a picture of George Bush. We couldn't talk to each other. I've got these cigars in my pocket. They're taking this band apart, watching this thing. And then eventually they let us go. But they had an axe we had for camping in the front seat. They had a bottle of homemade wine, and then they had some minced meatloaf, and they let us go. But that part was even scarier to me, sitting in there at the border, not knowing if you're going to be able to go. And I forgot I had all these things in the bag.
There's a lot of that going on these days. Border, people
But
stuck
no,
at the border.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. But like I said, I didn't believe in him until then, and I never went back. And eventually, she moved back to the States, so I was happy with that.
So when you said that it came close to her, did you see this apparition, or was it you, or could you just sense it? Like the door opened
You
up.
could see it.
You could see it, and what did it look like?
You could see it. Just a dark figure because the lights were off. All we had was a little bit of light through the window.
It's weird.
But like I said, go ahead.
It's weird because we had a whole paranormal week on this show, and I mean, I heard some ghost stories, but now all of a sudden everybody's telling me, that they've actually seen ghosts. You saw a ghost. Todd Lee said he saw a nurse ghost in this old creepy hospital. I'm starting to believe. After paranormal week, I was like, I don't even know if there are ghosts. But now you guys starting to freak me out.
I know what we saw, and to me, I was ready to go. I never came back, and I don't even like talking about it. I sped that story up because it just was so damn creepy that it would make my hair stand
scared.
up. It bothers me so much that I was cleaning some boxes out because we were preparing to move, and I found a key that she gave me to that house. And I saw the key, I threw it in the garbage and took it immediately out to the dumpster because that key had made my hair stand on the back of my neck.
Really?
And even in between phone calls to her, I could hear that damn voice come through our call.
And then
And
Ganell
like I
says,
said-
did your baby have curly hair?
Actually, no, she was bald till 2.5. We had to actually dress her in girl color because everybody couldn't tell what sex she was. But when she had her hair come in, I had a young lady.
We have a ghost. Yes, we actually have a ghost in our house. But it's not
You do?
that. Yeah, I mean, he's not that scary. He's like an ex-screenwriter that mopes around the house in his pajamas. Apparently, late at night. He died, I think, in the middle of his screenplay, and he just never finished it. So he's still there, still working on the screenplay, like a lot of people in Hollywood, just moping around in their house with their pajamas on. So it's not really that frightening. The worst thing that could happen is maybe he'd give you a script and ask if you could give him notes. That's like the worst. So that's a really scary story. It's interesting because it's similar to yesterday. I was supposed to have on the show Christy Stevens, who's a demonologist. And her story talks about this apparition that's kind of, like you said, like a shadow man. I think maybe like Slender Man. Have you ever heard of Slender Man?
Oh, yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, so it sounded a lot like Slender Man. And your apparition also, maybe it's not a ghost, maybe it's a demon. And not to scare you, but
Well,
I don't know.
I don't have to go there anymore. She had religious folks of different types come through, and most of them left almost instantly.
Wow.
And told her to leave. They blessed it. Told her to get rid of certain things in the house. I mean, she had even an Indian shaman come in. She had all different types of religions come in, and most of them left almost immediately.
Now, Mark Strignell says, my parents and I stayed in a house when I was a baby. My dad told me that lights would come on. They would hear footsteps upstairs. My crib would rock and creak. Curtains would lift up by themselves. It seems that a lot of times when there is a ghost, and I'm going to say there's ghosts and there's demons. They're probably two different things. I'm not an expert, of course. Going to have a demonologist on the show at some point. But usually they have some unfinished business. They didn't finish their script. They maybe were going to have a baby and didn't have a baby. Maybe they, the Comedy Store has a ghost comedian that is haunting it.
I've heard that.
You heard that? So what happened was he was supposed to go on the Tonight Show, and I don't know, I forget, but he ended up. Oh, I know. He was mad because he was not getting enough stage time at the Comedy Store, and he was so depressed about it. He went to the Hyatt next door, climbed up the roof, and jumped off the roof. And now they say he still haunts the Comedy Store. Yeah. Let's see what Kamala says. Hey, nothing wrong with pajamas as a lifestyle like you, Hefner. Yikes. Mark, where was this? Yes, Mark Strignell. It seems that all the hummingbirds have ghost stories. It's fascinating. Let's see what Mark says. In a house in the south of England, my dad woke up, saw a lady sitting at the end of his bed. He packed us all up and got us out in the middle of the night. Wow.
You know, after what I've seen, I'm more afraid of real people than I am spirits or demons or whatever they are. I mean, people can scare the heck out of you. Just getting
Real
in the
people.
car or just
Oh,
that's
yeah.
what gets me when I watch scary movies. It's the stuff about real people that kind of, put the
Yeah.
fear into me.
Me too. All right. Well, I think we're gonna have to stop it at this story. Maybe we'll bring you on first for another story coming up soon. Unless
I was
you
gonna
have
say
like,
I've got a good one, but if
do you
we gotta
have
go,
one?
we gotta go.
Wait, do you have a
Oh,
good
I've
one?
got plenty.
All right.
Yes, I do.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All
Okay.
right.
Okay, when I was younger, I used to do door-to-door sales. And like I talked to you about.
Yeah.
And like I said, you meet real people that can scare the crap out of you.
Yeah.
And what I was selling was this stuff. It was a universal clean everything cleaner. And the truth is, it really worked. But it was a fly-by-night company. 3 people had to share a room. The guy who sold the less had to sleep on the floor. I never had to sleep on the floor. But what ended up happening is, back in '98 is when I did it after my Chicago thing. We had to use phone cards. For people who don't remember what phone cards are, we had so many minutes and we had to refill them.
I'm so
Well, I
nostalgic
didn't
for
pay-
phone cards.
Oh yeah. And see, I was out of state in Ohio, and my mom was talking to me on the phone, and I was trying to convey that, oh, they won't let me go anywhere by myself, to go eat because we're in a different town.
Yeah.
It's like the product. It's like they're brainwashing. They won't let me go, and I want to come home. And the phone card quit. So I didn't think anything about it. And then a couple days later, we're staying in this hotel. I mean, over at this restaurant, in potato soup with a friend, dressed in these corduroy pants, these loafers, and this Hawaiian shirt, and this ugly hat. And I start to go back to the hotel, and everybody goes, "Hey, Loren, don't go to the hotel. Don't go to the hotel." And I go, "Why?" And all of a sudden, I notice all these state police cars, and they go, "Are you Loren Ackerman?" And I go, "Yes." And they go, "Have you been kidnapped and brainwashed by a cult?" And I go, "No." And they said, "Well, Paul Ackerman and my mom's name had called and said you were kidnapped by a cult." So there was a 4-state search for me. And they were knocking on every door of that hotel. And as the cops walked away, he looked down at me and he goes, "Good thing we're not the fashion police." And I had to go. I was just eating soup, man. So they
Cop
said the
jokes
boss,
are the
the
best.
boss wants to talk to you.
Yeah.
So I know what's going to happen. So I go up to the top floor and talk to the boss. He goes, "You're one of the best salesmen I got, but I think it's time we part ways." And I go, "Understood, sir." And he goes, "But I need you to do me a favor. The company van isn't working, and I need to take the mechanic shop on the way to the Greyhound bus station. This is in Ohio, and I believe it was a 5-lane interstate. The problem with the van was it wouldn't go past 3rd gear. So I'm driving this van in 3rd gear on an interstate.
Yeah.
I park that son of a gun, and I get over to the bus stop, okay?
Yeah.
And it's in an area where I was referred to as Snowflake. That's what somebody said to me when I was there. So I'm sitting there, and I'm watching this kid fidget with this video game forever.
Yeah.
And me being me, I dropped $2 worth of quarters on the video game and say, "Here you go, kid." All of a sudden, everybody in the bus stop gets up, and they're wanting to rip my head off. And this guy pulls me outside and goes, "Boy, you don't know what you just did. You have no idea." And I said, "My stuff, we'll watch it." Well, anyways, everybody calmed down. And it took me a long time to figure out kind of what I did, and I really don't know what I did other than get some kids some quarters. So I get on this Greyhound bus with the same people. It finally settled down. And we make our first stop at a gas station. And I noticed in line, as I went to the bathroom, there was this kid. And the gas station guy was trying to tell him that his dollar bills were $100 bills, trying to take all his money, So I stopped and I go in there and said, "No, you don't take money from somebody, sir. These are $100 bills. And these are ones. Don't rip them off." Okay, I don't think anything about it. We get back on the bus. And there's this young kid straight off the boat, I think, or the plane from Africa. And he thanks me. He sits with me on the bus. And he goes, I am indebted to you. I am indebted. So, like I said, he came straight up. He hadn't taken a bath in probably 2 weeks. And he's sitting there and he's picking his nose and he's rolling his boogers. And he sits there and eats one. Okay?
Yeah.
And he's not from America, so he goes, "What is this? What is this?" And I go, "That is porn." "What is this?" "That is, a restaurant." And this goes on. I mean, I'm pretending to even be asleep, and he's tapping me on my shoulder going,
Yeah.
"What is this?"
Yeah.
For doing the right thing. Well, the bus got a little noisy, and some of the women folk were being quite loud, so he stands up and he goes, "You shut up! You shut up! In my country, you would be killed. You would be killed in my country. You speak too loud." And I mean, all the women got him. They're yelling at him. They're throwing shoes at both of us. And I go to the guy and I go, "Look, you can't talk to women like that in this country at all. Their mothers, their daughters, their sisters. You just don't do that." And everybody's going, "That's right. You can't. That's right. That's a good man there." And we make it all the way to Chicago, right?
Yeah.
And this is still going on. "What's this? What's this?" And he wouldn't even let me carry my own bags, all right? Because he's indebted to me.
Yeah.
And when on the way there, and I'm from Central Illinois, there's a town called Pekin, Illinois.
Uh-huh.
And Google it. And its history is not kind to all types of people, all right? That's all
Okay.
I'm going to say. He said, "We
Not
can
a good
move in
place.
together."
Yeah.
"No, we can live together." And I said, "No, sir. Out of all the towns, you don't want to do that." And we parted our ways.
Yeah.
I told the story to a friend after, and he goes, "Well, maybe you shouldn't ignore that email from that Nigerian prince. It would be $1 million." So that's the full circle story of that.
That is wild. I've got a question for you, and it relates to
Yes, sir.
your parents wanting you to get out of a cult. Because I'm obsessed with cults
Yes, sir.
sometimes. And I wonder, was the sales business that you were in, was that what your parents thought was a cult?
Yes, because see, I only had like 2 minutes to talk to her until I got paid.
It was like
And all it
multi-level
was
marketing?
Yeah, and it was a fly-by-night company. They wouldn't let us separate, out of town because they didn't want any of us hurt. So we had to stay in a group.
Yeah.
All we did was talk about products, so it felt like brainwash. If you wanted to talk about anything else, it was all product. And I just did a stint in Chicago. Go ahead.
Did you have to take cold showers in the morning and sing a certain song so that you get excited to be a salesman?
We took a lot of cold showers, but I didn't have to sing a whole lot.
Okay, good.
But, it's funny that you bring that up because I am glad that I did the salesman gig because Willie Nelson, a lot of people don't know, he was a salesman. And that's what made him a great songwriter. And that's what also gives me good stories. Believe me, if we talk sometime, I've got some doozies to tell.
All right, cool. I love that. Also John Prine was a mailman. Do you know John Prine?
No kidding.
A great, singer-songwriter. When he wrote when he put out his first album, he was a mailman. So there you go.
That is
Door to
interesting. I
door.
didn't know that.
Door to door is good for music, I think, as is the harmonica.
Well, you get to know the people.
Oh yeah, you get to know people, right? And you get to see a lot of different people. Let's see what Todd says. Ganell, there's a crazy story. Yeah, Ganell has a good story about being a salesman as well, way down in Texas. All right, so this was great. Thanks so much for telling your stories. I want to have you back on the show sometime. And thanks to your daughter for helping with the technical aspect of the show. I understand she has a podcast, I think. Is that right?
Oh yeah, she's actually right here. She's actually called me a boomer.
Does she want to jump in and say hi real quick?
You want to come in and say hi? Yes, she's coming.
All right.
Here, go ahead.
Hello.
Hey,
This is
great to
Milena.
see you.
I'm not looking all fancy.
Yeah, great to see you, Milena. You have a podcast?
You too. Yeah.
Awesome. So where can people go to your
It's
podcast?
called on YouTube. It's called Brain Dead with Milena Jane.
Brain Dead with Oh, that's awesome. Brain Dead.
Yeah. He's on my first one.
She suckered me in as the first guest.
Now I've put the title Brain Dead next to you guys, which I don't think is probably a good idea, but you called it that. All right, great. We're going to do what's called a dance break next. And I don't know.
Okay.
Yes. So what happens is I play somebody covering another song and we kind of just hang out and dance. And then sometimes I talk too much, and that's what we do here at Lunch Therapy. So I'm going to tell you all a little story about this, and then I'm going to come back in for the music, and you all can, do a little bit of a dancing. It's not like you have to do anything really choreographed. I will be doing choreographed material, of course. It's great meeting you. Thanks for coming on the show.
Well,
You too.
Both of you, obviously.
Thank you, Joel.
All right, and I'll see you at the dance party. Just a sec. Let me do a little intro. So last night I'm going through, and I really like
No, I am sitting.
I really like the singer Henry Nilsson, and I don't know if y'all listen to Harry Nilsson. See, now I'm saying his name wrong. Harry Nilsson. He's I guess one of his famous songs is the One is the Loneliest Number. That's one of his famous ones. I Can't Live If Living Is Without You, and a lot of other really good stuff, like the theme song to Midnight Cowboy. Everybody's talking about. Anyway, I'm going to let this person, Michael J. Gonzalez, sing one of the Harry Nilsson songs that I think you'll enjoy. And he also, I don't know the story about this. We're going to have to ask him, because Michael J. Gonzalez is an actor and a singer, and he also did this video of the great song Me and My Arrow, and there's pictures of a young man and a dog, and I imagine this is a song dedicated to them, and he'll have to tell us who those people are. Maybe, if he's in the chat room, he can do that. Here we go, Michael J. Gonzalez. All right, you're on camera, and they're standing. That's good.
Are we on?
Yeah, you're on. So I'm just going to dance just, a little bit. We all can dance. Do you know this song?
Yes.
Okay, cool. It's a good one. So there's the dog and the person. We don't know who the person is. We know that the singer is Michael J. Gonzalez. Well known. He has a lot of credits on television, I'll tell you.
It's me and my arrow. And in the morning when I wake up, she'll be gone. And I don't know. And when we make up just
We're gonna have to ask
break up, I'll carry on.
who the dog is.
Oh yes, I will. Me and my arrow, taking the high road.
All right, thanks everybody. And thank you, Loren, for being on the show, telling a hilarious story, and also thank you for bringing your daughter. We'll catch you on the Brain Dead, and then also on Lunch Therapy. See you all
Thanks for having
tomorrow.
us. Have a great day, everybody.
All right, have a great day.
Good.